We were very hungry and were glad to have had an opportunity to have a bite. We suspected that the cartman intended treachery and that he was taking us to some lonely spot to kill us. The toll collector is Hindu. Then what are these people? Are they Christians? Are they Muslims? What are they then? Think about it. Want to change the religion, the caste in order to get water. Hello, hi, namaste and welcome to Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. I am Nandakishore, Faculty of English in Vidhyaashram, MYSURU. In my previous session, I had discussed about the prose On the Way to Goregaon written by B.R. Ambedkar, which is prescribed to first semester B.A. and B.C.A. students. In today's session, in session 2, I am going to give you a recap and further going to discuss about the same prose. Before I proceed further, as I told you, let me just give you a recap about session 1. As we know that Ambedkar, along with his family members, 3 other members, he has planned to go to Goregaon. And his father had informed him, written a letter saying that, inform me or write back a letter informing me when you are planning to take the trip so that I can send my peon or I am going to available in this railway station to pick you up myself. But unfortunately, neither of them reached and they had to go through a lot of problems. The very first problem they go through is like finding nobody to receive them. And next thing, they go on to hire a cart, but unfortunately they fail. And with the help of station master, somehow they decide to pay the double fare, double price to reach Goregaon. And the most difficult part is they have to drive the cart. And somehow the cartman decides to walk with the cart and they are continuing with the journey and they board the cart at 6 o'clock and the cartman says that they are going to reach Goregaon at 9 in the night. Let us see in today's session whether they are going to reach or not. Not very far from the station, there flowed a river. It was quite dry except at places where there were small pools of water. The owner of the cart proposed that we should halt there and have our meals as we might not get water on our way. The second problem, on their way, they might not get water. Keep recording about these problems they face. This could be asked for 10 marks. So we agreed. He asked us to give a part of his fare to enable him to go to the village and have his meal. My brother gave him some money and he left, promising to return soon. But we were very hungry and were glad to have had an opportunity to have a bite. My auntie had pressed our neighbors' women folk into service and had got some nice preparation for us to take on our way. We opened tiffin basket and started eating. Next, what happens? We needed water to wash things down. One of us went to the pool of water in the river basin nearby, but the water really was no water. The problem here, it was not really water. What was it? It was thick with mud and urine and excreta of the cows and buffaloes and other cattle who went to the pool for drinking. This is very important here. They are talking about the problems. In fact, that water was not intended for human use. At any rate, the stink of water was so strong we could not drink it. No way possible. We had therefore to close our meal before we were satisfied and wait for the arrival of the cartman. Think about the problems. They are hungry. They cannot eat it. Yes, and they don't have water. Just because they run short of water or maybe they didn't have water, they had to stop eating it and they had to close their meal. He did not come for a long time and all that we could do was to look for him in all directions. Ultimately, he came and we started on our journey. Again, they begin. For some 4 or 5 miles, we drove the cart and he walked on foot. Then he suddenly jumped into the cart and took the reins from our hand. This is very important. This shows that he was so tired, so exhausted after walking, right? Maybe it's because of the meal that he consumed. He was very exhausted. He couldn't walk. his foot started to hurt, or maybe any other reason. Think about this. The fellow who did not want to get into the cart before, now all of a sudden he jumps into the cart and he takes the reins. He's not worried about getting polluted now. We thought this to be rather a strange conduct on the part of a man who had refused to let the cart on hire for fear of pollution, to have set aside all his religious scruples, to have consented to sit with us in the same cart, but we did not ask him any questions on the point. This is what I told you. Now Ambedkar is thinking, and his other three mates are thinking, the fellow who was so much worried about being polluted, all of a sudden he gives up everything. He keeps aside, he throws away all these rituals and customs and all these notions, nostalgia. He just gets into the cart and they are dumbstruck now. They are not in a condition, who? Ambedkar and the family members, brother and nephew, they are not in a condition to question him why he got into the cart now. We were anxious to reach Goregaon, our destination, as quickly as possible. And for some time, we were interested in the movement of the cart only. This is very important now. But soon there was darkness all around us. There were no street lights to relieve the darkness. There were no men or women or even cattle passing by to make us feel that we were in their midst. Completely alone by themselves. We became fearful of the loneliness which surrounded us. Our anxiety was growing. We mustered all the courage we possessed. We had traveled far from MYSURU. Remember, MYSURU is a railway station where they got down and where they got into the cart now. It was more than 3 hours. What was his promise? If you get in at 6, you would reach by 9. But it is more than 9 o'clock now. But there was no sign of Goregaon. There arose a strange thought within us. We suspected that the cartman intended treachery and that he was taking us to some lonely spot to kill us. He would make us sort of monkeys, right, to fool and to make us believe that he is taking us to Goregaon, and rather he would take us to some lonely place and kill us. We had a lot of golden ornaments on us, and that helped to strengthen our suspicion. This is very important. Why are they so suspected now? It's because of the golden ornaments they wore. We started asking him how far Goregaon was, why we were so late in reaching it. He kept on saying, it is not very far. We shall soon reach it. It was about 10 at night when, finding that there was no trace of Goregaon, we children started crying and abusing the cartman. Our lamentations, crying, they are lamenting, they are crying now, our lamentation and wailings continued for long. The cartman made no reply. He is not making any reply now. Suddenly, we saw a light burning at some distance. The cartman said, do you see that light? That is a light of the toll collector. We will rest here for the night. We felt some relief and stopped crying. The light was distant, but we could never seem to reach it. It took us 2 hours to reach the toll collector's hut. It is almost 12 o'clock by then. The interval increased our anxiety, and we kept on asking the cartman all sorts of questions as to why there was delay in reaching the place, whether we are going on the same road, etc. So the cartman is not paying any heed for all these questions. Ultimately, by midnight, the cart reached the toll collector's hut. It was situated at the foot of a hill, but on the other side of the hill. When we arrived, we saw a large number of bullock carts there, all resting for the night. We were extremely hungry and wanted very much to eat. Now they cannot bear this hunger, and it says extremely hungry. But again, there was the question of water. Of course, you're going to eat, but the question is, do you have water? He warned us that the toll collector was a Hindu. This is very important. See there, he says the toll collector is Hindu. Then what are these people? Are they Christians? Are they Muslims? What are they then? and that there was no possibility of our getting water if we spoke the truth and said that we were Mahars, that we were untouchables. He said, say you are Mohammedans and try your luck. He is giving an idea. Tell him that you are Muslims. What will Ambedkar do now? On his advice, I went to the toll collector's hut and asked them if he would give us some water. Who are you? He inquired. Who? The toll collector, right? He says, who are you? I replied that we were Musalmans. I conversed with him in Urdu, which I knew very well, so as to leave no doubt that I was a real Musalman. So he wanted to convince the toll collector that Ambedkar was a Musalman. Think about it. Want to change the religion, the caste in order to get water, the difficulty. But the trick did not work and his reply was very curt. It was sort of like, negligently he tells, who has kept water for you? There is water on the hill. If you want to go and get it, I have none. He bluntly tells on the face of Ambedkar, saying that as if you are some Maharaja, yes, some king. Who has kept water for you? There is water on the hill. If you want to go and get it, I have none. With this, he dismissed me. I returned to the cart and conveyed to my brother his reply. I don't know what my brother felt. All that he did was to tell us to lie down now. They are exhausted. What will they do? The bullocks had been unyoked, in the sense like untied, and they will take off all this, right, from the cart. And the cart was placed sloping down on the ground. We spread our beds on the bottom planks inside the cart and laid down our bodies to rest. They are going to sleep now. Now that we had come to a place of safety, we did not mind what happened. But our minds could not help turning to the latest event. There was plenty of food with us. They are not able to go to bed now without eating. There was hunger burning within us. With all this, we were to sleep without food. That was because we could not get no water, right? We could get no water, and we could get no water because we were untouchables. Such was the last thought that entered our mind. Why couldn't they get water? It's because they were untouchables. I said we had come to a place of safety. Evidently, my elder brother had his misgivings. He said, it was not wise for all four of us to go to sleep. Anything might happen. He suggested that at one time, two should sleep and two should keep watch. So what is his idea? It could be asked for 1 mark. The idea his brother gave, one idea, two should sleep and two should keep watch. So we spent the night at the foot of that hill. That is about today's session. I'm going to meet you in my next session, session 3, and let us see whether these 4 family members of B.R. Ambedkar, including him, will they reach Goregaon or will they be stuck in that place forever in the next session. I'm going to meet you in my next session. Until then, keep reading. Have a good day. Take care.